Good day, everyone. As educational leaders, one of the most complex challenges we face today is disciplining students for actions that happen outside the school building. So for my report, I will be tackling about student discipline. The rise of social media means student misconduct is often public and immediate, even if it happens off campus. So this presentation analyzed the legal and policy framework in the Philippines, drawing heavily on the principles discussed by legal minds like Attorney Joseph Noel M. Estrada. So to answer a simple question, where does our authority end? The law doesn't care only about geography. The primary principle governing a school's authority over off-campus conduct is what we call the nexus rule. Nexus means a connection. We don't discipline a student just because they are a student. We discipline them if their off-campus behavior creates a direct adverse link or connection to the school's environment. Meaning may kinalaman ba yung kanilang behavior, yung kanilang ginawa, yung kanilang character sa image or sa ating school, sa image ng ating school. This nexus is the legal justification. Yun yung pinagbabasihan natin ngayon. Now, this concept is not new. It was solidified by our Supreme Court in the year 1982 in the case of Angeles versus Sison. So, the court was emphatic. The true test is the effect. If a student's act, yung ginawa ng student, even if committed on a Saturday night, so weekend, at home, sa bahay, is so egregious that it directly undermines the school order. At hindi lang yun, it threatens safety or if it violates the norms expected of an academic community member, the school retains the power to intervene. So this ruling is the bedrock of our disciplinary authority. Now, the legal basis is found in the Family Code Article 218. This grants us special parental authority over the minor. So in the absence of the parents or in the hindi naman replacement kundi in the absence of the parent, we were granted the special parental authority. So we act in loco parentis. So sabi sa Article 218. So in place of the parent. But this authority is special and temporary. So as Angeles case clarified, our mandate isn't just to teach. Hindi lamang pagtuturo, but also to help students grow into responsible, effective citizens. Discipline is a means to fulfill that broader responsibility. So ang ganda nung Family Code Article 218, sometimes being an educator or being a teacher, ang gusto lang natin is makapagturo, just to teach. But according to this article, hindi lamang doon nagtatapos yung ating trabaho. Our responsible is for our students to grow responsible, effective students, effective citizens. So, just what I says, discipline is a means to fulfill that broader responsibility. Now, this slide clarifies the 3 tiers of our jurisdiction. Hanggang saan ba yung sakop ng jurisdiction natin? Tier 1 and Tier 2 are clear. Obviously, on campus and clearly during authorized activities like field trips or sports events. So, Tier 3 is the challenge. Unauthorized, off-campus acts. So, outside the campus and walang paalam. So for this, we must revert to the nexus rule. If a student commits an offense that doesn't affect the school, it's generally a private matter for the parents. However, if the act spills over, affecting the safety or order of the academic environment, we must act. So kung hindi naman lumabas yung ginawa nila na questionable, it's between the parents. However, kapag lumabas po ito at naapektuhan ng image ng school, just what I says, na may epekto na ito sa safety and order of the academic environment. So dito na papasok yung nexus rule na kailangan may gawin na yung school. We must act. Now, the biggest policy shift involves the digital world. Sa panahon natin ngayon, everything is digital. The Nexus Rule has been translated into the concept of material and substantial disruption. While the students have the right to free expression online, mag-post sila kahit anong man gusto nila, that right is limited if their speech directly disrupts the learning environment. If an if an off-campus post constitutes a credible threat against a teacher, nagpost sila against the teacher, or is a part of a pattern of severe cyberbullying against the students, sa kapwa nila students, that makes the victim fear coming to the school. So the nexus is established. May nexus. And we have the legal obligation as the teacher, as the school director, we have now the legal obligation to intervene. Bakit? Kasi may epekto na ito sa student safety, may epekto na ito sa image ng school. Although ito ay it's online, nasa labas ito ng school, dito napapasok yung nexus rule. No, we're not just relying on case law here. We have a specific statute. So, the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013 is a clear directive. It requires all basic education schools, public and private, to create policies that address cyberbullying and other forms of bullying that occur off-campus but have an impact on the school. So this legislation explicitly extends the school's disciplinary reach to protect students from technology-driven harm. So, ang lahat ng mga mandate ng school is not all about inside the campus. Sa aming school, we also talk about cyberbullying and ano ba yung tamang pinag-uusapan, paano ba dapat yung tamang behavior even if the students is off campus. Now, the legal standard is slightly different in higher education. CHED's manual of regulations gives higher education a broader mandate. So for them, the disciplinary action is justified if the misconduct, even if non-criminal, impacts the student's fitness to continue their studies or, crucially, damages the good name and the reputation of the school. So the standard of conduct for a college student seen as a near adult is generally higher in terms of community representation. And as a crucial reminder, our authority is limited, of course. We cannot overreach. Disciplinary action is a serious intervention, and we must be able to articulate and prove the nexus. Kailangan ma-prove natin, kaya as much as possible, everything should be written. For example, a student getting a traffic ticket off campus while a violation of law typically has no nexus to the school, but a student involved in a public brawl o nag-away-away sila, may suntukan sa labas with another student from the same school, the nexus to the school, safety, and order is clear. No nexus, nor no jurisdiction. Kailangan may cause. We must be cautious not to become what the U.S. Supreme Court has called a 24/7 regulator of student speech. Students, of course, retain their constitutional rights when they leave our premises. For instance, an isolated incident of profanity, may mga pinagsasabi sila, may mga pinag-usapan sila on a private social media chat sa mga GCs, sa mga estudyante, ang dami niyan. Ang dami mga GC. If it doesn't target the school or cause a substantial disruption, wala namang pinapatama ang school or pinapatama ang teachers or anything from the school. So that would be likely protected speech. We must respect the zone of parental responsibility and the student's privacy. Ang hirap dito is kapag lagi natin tinatanong o lagi tayong nangihimasok sa mga pinag-uusapan ng iba. So, they are, of course, protected by protected speech or tinatawag na we should be respecting their zone of parental responsibility. May mga bagay na dapat magulang yung nag-i-intervene. And of course, may tinatawag na student privacy. And the most important part of this discussion is the procedure. So even we have the authority to act as a school leader, our power is meaningless if we violate the student's fundamental right to due process. An administrative proceeding must be fair. Kailangan may proseso, kailangan may sinusundan, kailangan may nakasulat, kailangan may mga steps na ginagawa. And it must be fair even if the student is clearly guilty. Hindi naman yung porke maliwanag na guilty yung students, talagang pinatanggal mo na, walang sulat-sulat, walang mga pinag-usapan. No, we must ensure that the penalty is reasonable and proportional to the offense. And most of all, walang personalan, 'di ba? Walang nang mamata, kailangan kung ano yung nakasulat, kung ano yung law, kung ano yung mandate ng school at mga pinirmahan, yun dapat yung susundan. So here are the 4 procedural safeguards that must be met. Number 1, the written notice must be precise, not vague accusation. Kailangan nakasulat, kailangan may nakakita, kailangan may what we call that, hindi lang accusation na sinabi ni ganito, narinig ko na ganito, hindi Kailangan hindi vague, kailangan hindi malabo. So the student must have a genuine opportunity to defend themselves. The proceedings must be conducted by an impartial body, and the final decision must be documented. Again, just what I've said, everything must be documented, relying on substantial evidence. Kailangan may evidence lahat. Kailangan kung may nakita sa CCTV, ipe-play yung CCTV. Kailangan kung may napicturan ng mga part ng GC, kailangan lahat may resibo. So meaning, more than the scintilla of proof, this protects both the student and the school from successful legal challenge. So for us school leaders, this will be our policy takeaway. Our student handbook is our legal defense document. It must clearly outline our disciplinary authority. Kailangan nakasulat doon, sino ba yung masusunod, sino ba yung mga susundin, sino ba yung nakasakop dito. Including the nexus rule. So there must be no ambiguity. Kailangan malinaw lahat. So if an off-campus act is not in our handbook, we will be facing significant legal hurdle. Mahirap ito in disciplining the students, even the act of the parents inside our campus. So policies must be published. One of the things that are important is it must be accessible. Kailangan nakapaskel, kailangan nakikita, and of course, it must be aligned with the DepEd or CHED regulations. Finally, let's look at this through a doctoral lens. While the law grants us the power to punish, our mission too is to educate. The best policies use discipline as the last resort. Ito yung last resort natin. So we would be prioritizing a restorative justice model. We pursue justice because we want to restore. Our goal is to use our authority to implement preventive education. So that's the goal. We want to educate the people. We want to educate the students because we want to prevent them from doing such things. And also, we have what we call the restorative intervention. As teachers, as school leaders, we intervene with these kind of things because we want to restore. And that would heal the community and teach accountability rather than simply moving dun sa point na, okay, expulsion na yan, okay, suspension na yan. Hindi naman yun yung goal natin Last resort na yun. To conclude, the school's power to discipline off-campus is real. Napakatotoo nito. So it's necessary, kailangan natin gawin ito, and it's also legal. Authority exists only when there is a direct nexus, just like in Angeles versus Season. And authority, the school's authority is expanded for cyber misconduct hanggang sa labas, hanggang sa online. That's what RA 10627 says. And this exercise of authority is strictly limited by due process requirements. So we must follow due process. So thank you, and thank you for listening.